database question examples based on AWS Data Engineer topics by abylead. We offer cloud service introductions, exam question explanations, and practicing of real exams. Question 1. How do you avoid DynamoDB throttling errors during peaks? Wrong is to resolve write-read throttling with DynamoDB streams and DAX read-only caching. Also wrong is to deploy DynamoDB on demand for limited capacity. Better is to configure DynamoDB autoscaling to save costs for unexpected surges and low traffic periods. Question 2. How do you cost-effectively configure DynamoDB for unpredictable traffic? To use provisioned capacity with autoscaling requires higher costs and overhead. And DynamoDB infrequent access table isn't suitable for unpredictable access. In contrast, for unpredictable traffic you better configure on-demand capacity with instant ramp-up or down. Question 3. How do you effectively scale to maintain DynamoDB query performance? It's ineffective to apply a primary key for dataset growth. And table splitting or item redistribution on access patterns are both too complicated. Most advisable is to apply DAX caching for microsecond DynamoDB readings even if dataset size exceeds memory. Question 4. How do you realize a high available, scalable, and near real-time stateful event logging? False is to engage RDS read replicas or S3 logging for real-time processing. For global scalability, Aurora serverless EC2 instances or ElastiCache are unsuitable. The solution is to use DynamoDB global tables for fast stateful traffic and Kinesis KDF for stateless analytics. Question 5. How do you optimize query performance of DynamoDB with stock symbol as primary key? Don't employ index for query of unused attributes, and a single date query is inefficient. Not better is to apply a compressed binary format for this use case. You better engage a combined query with GSI date partition key and stock symbol sort key. Question 6. How do you best enhance a streaming pipelines with DynamoDB streams? You shouldn't apply DynamoDB streams without XML support, and for Redshift it requires transformation. Besides, DynamoDB streams only retains 24 hours. Instead, employ DynamoDB streams with information flow about DynamoDB item changes. Question 7. How do you best store sensor streams used for near real-time analytics? Wrong is to employ SQS with autodelays or standard Redshift for streaming. In addition, Lambda function can't easily connect to Redshift. Most advisable is to apply Lambda function processing stream records to store in DynamoDB. Question 8. How do you ensure query performance for large graph data sets with numerous joins and aggregations? It's a bad idea to employ DynamoDB or Redshift, as both don't provide graph-based data structures. Apache Spark with GraphX library isn't database for graphs. You best employ Neptune graph stores and queries with graphs for dataset relationships. Question 9. How do you optimize RDS PostgreSQL for complex and growing queries? Incorrect is to use materialized views for transactional workloads. In addition, RDS for MySQL doesn't perform better than PostgreSQL. To improve standard PostgreSQL performance, you best transition to Aurora PostgreSQL with its performance insights. Question 10. How do you best migrate to optimize regularly large geospatial data storage and query? Aurora, DynamoDB, or Redshift inefficiently handles spatial data. But with PostGIS spatial and geographic objects you run complex spatial queries more efficiently. Hold on a minute. If you like this channel and its free content to continue, please subscribe it on the right bottom button. Question 11. How do you encryption RDS database with minimal downtime? Enabling RDS encryption on the console or using KMS doesn't work, and DMS for encryption comes with downtime. Better is to use RDS snapshot for encryption with minimal downtime. Question 12. How do you most effective purge customer data from RDS instance to comply with privacy regulations? You can't use data pipeline or RDS event subscription for data deletion tasks. And EC2 custom scripts are too complicated. In contrast, you employ triggered Lambda to run scheduled off-peak and read replicas for min performance impact. Question 13. How do you improve RDS real-time reporting while minimizing read processing impact? With ElastiCache you don't cover all reads and RDS doesn't sufficient scale for growth. Inadequate is also migration or a data pipeline for simple request offloading. Most advisable is to use RED replicas for read-heavy workloads beyond constraints while the source database handles writes. Question 14. How do you most secure realize multi-client access to RDS? Wrong is to engage advanced network ACL for IP filtering. Not better is controlling a HTTP protocol as RDS doesn't use it and IAM policies don't manage traffic. The solution is to control RDS traffic with inbound rules and to only allow known IP addresses. Question 15. How do you ensure RDS security group access only by app while enhancing overall security? Don't make RDS instances public and network ACLs are too advanced. Besides, denying all traffic is overly restrictive and Shield Advanced can't control access. You better configure RDS security group to allow inbound traffic from app security group on required DB port. Question 16. How do you mitigate RDS PostgreSQL long-running transaction performance without integrity impact? Transaction locks can't be resolved by increasing RDS instance size, and using shards is a major change. Moreover, index optimization doesn't resolve it either. Instead, you configure a timeout for idling to prevent long-running transactions from holding locks. Question 17. How do you realize cost-effective storage for unpredictable real-time analytics with strong consistency? You can't save costs with provisioned DynamoDB for uncertain loads and with EFS lifecycling for frequent access. Also, Aurora region replication is far-fetched. Most advisable is to enhance RED performance with ElastiCache for real-time analytics to reduce primary database load. Question 18. How do you realize auto-scaled, high-available real-time API for peak loads from RDS PostgreSQL? Combining ECS cluster with caching is too complicated and RDS isn't real-time featured. Besides, cached DynamoDB is inconsistent and unsuitable for real-time. You best employ API Gateway and auto-scaled Lambda to handle variable real-time loads with ElastiCache caching frequent queries. Question 19. How do you configure ElastiCache strategy to improve read-intensive RDS MySQL queries? Don't use inconsistent ElastiCache memcache invalidation and write-through is inefficient. Unsuitable for read-heavy cases is ElastiCache Redis write-around. In contrast, you use ElastiCache Redis lazy loading for read-heavy app to cache only most requested data. Question 20. How do you realize most efficient e-commerce solution for tracking and analysis? It's ineffective to apply a balance tree for products in RDS. Even infeasible are SQSQs for product checks and DynamoDB for binary searches. But with ElastiCache Redis you can employ high-performance in-memory data store with hash tables for constant time complexity. Question 21. How do you best migrate storage with max I/O for video processing, large durable and archive storage? Inadequate are EFS or Instant Store for persistent video processing. Better is to engage EBS high-performance storage optimized for I/O-intensive workloads like video processing. With the understanding of database for data engineers, you are ready now for more details. We wish you further insights with abylead videos.